Coming up, a thrilling, funny new twist on an old monster story.
A writer imagines what it was like to be married to Oscar Wilde.
Plus, our distraction of the week. I'm Mel.
I'm Dave. This is the Library of Lost Time.
This week, I decided to spend this spooky season becoming a Rachel Harrison completist.
What does that mean?
Okay, Rachel Harrison is the author of 5 novels. They all put a fresh twist on beloved horror tropes. In a 2022 episode of our podcast, you recommended Such Sharp Teeth.
Yeah, the werewolf story.
Yeah. And last year, I kicked off spooky season reading Black Sheep. That one is a comedy horror novel about a girl named Vesper who learns a big family secret, and then she basically burns her entire world to the ground. Harrison has also tackled a witch story with Cackle, and she has an Audible short story called The Veil about a woman who works at a Victorian living history museum. I'm very excited about that one.
I really like her titles.
I feel like they convey the sense of humor she has about traditional horror. It's really fun.
Yeah, they're sort of dark and funny at the same time.
Yeah. This spooky season, she's gifted us with a vampire story called So Thirsty. Another great title.
Yeah.
I started reading it last Saturday morning after breakfast and finished it at about midnight. It was a fantastic day.
That's awesome.
The setup is pretty irresistible. Our heroine's name is Sloane. She's really feeling her age and dreading her upcoming birthday. Her cheating rat of a husband surprises her with a gift. She hates surprises. Even this one, a weekend with her lifelong best friend Naomi at a fancy spa resort.
I mean, it sounds benevolent.
It does. It's not. Naomi is a wild child. Her boyfriend is literally a rock star, and she has never encountered an iffy situation she didn't want to explore. So instead of the girls spending the weekend sipping wine by a fireplace, Naomi accepts an invitation from some sexy locals to join them at a mansion for an evening of debauchery. One thing leads to another, and before you can say, hey, toss me that garlic clove, Sloane and Naomi's lives are changed forever.
Literally forever.
Literally forever, and forever is a mighty long time.
Yeah.
Rachel Harrison is so good at this. Like, the first draft of my Goodreads review said, Rachel Harrison is so good at this. It's super fun to vicariously join these characters as they just careen headlong into danger with poor judgment. And the dialogue is so good. Sloane and Naomi have been friends for decades, and the way they talk to each other sounds like it. The rhythm and the shorthand of their conversations felt like a transcript of somebody who'd eavesdropped on 2 old friends talking. After some kind of sexy, hedonistic, candlelit bits of action at the mansion, the 2 women are faced with the practicalities of the vampire life. It's hilarious and tragic at the same time. How do vampires put on makeup?
Right.
Are all vampires murderers?
Yeah.
There's a collision of boring everyday stuff and the rules of being undead. And it's really fun to think about.
I'd never really considered the vampire makeup problem.
Right? And vampires always look fantastic. How does that work?
Yeah, that's true.
Along the way, and tucked in between all of these fun bits, Harrison, as always, has stuff to say about aging, trauma, being a woman, how we define the lives we want. I love the way she takes these kind of serious issues and sprinkles them in like black confetti in a really fun story.
Yeah.
This book is a wild ride. If you like your horror with a side of sarcasm, I can't recommend this and her other works enough. This one is So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison.
Louis Bayard is a historical fiction author. He seems to particularly enjoy speculating about the emotional lives of famous people.
I like to do that too.
Yeah. What was it like when they were young and falling in love on the road to fame, and how did their fame change their interior lives and that kind of thing? His last book, Jackie and Me, was about the early romance between Jack Kennedy and Jackie Bouvier. The Washington Post said it was one of the best novels of 2022. He wrote Courting Mr. Lincoln, about a romantic triangle between Abraham Lincoln, Mary Todd, and another man.
Saucy.
Yeah. He's also got a book that features Eugene Francois Vindoc, the world's first private investigator. We talked about him in our last episode. The book is called The Black Tower. It's a mystery set in 19th century Paris, of course. Bayard is probably most famous for his book, The Pale Blue Eye. That story features Edgar Allan Poe's time at West Point, and it became a Netflix series with Christian Bale.
That was a very spooky series.
Yeah, we saw it. I remember enjoying that. His latest is out. It's called The Wilds, a novel in 5 acts, and it speculates on the relationship between Oscar Wilde and his wife, Constance. You don't need to know much about Oscar Wilde to know that their relationship went poorly. They started happy.
I know, that's always surprising to me how much they seem to have really loved each other.
Yeah.
And had a really nice marriage in the beginning.
Yeah. Then he was arrested for homosexuality.
Which is so sad.
Yeah. And that led to the financial and emotional ruin of his family. Wilde's wife and his 2 sons had to sell everything. She changed her name and left England with the boys. And Bayard imagines what that must have been like for everybody involved. Reviewers for the book have talked about the sharp dialogue and its emotional depth and how well Bayard has drawn Oscar Wilde. The book just came out this week. It's The Wilds, a novel in 5 acts by Louis Bayard.
And now it's our distraction of the week.
We just published our episode on detective agencies. Frequently when I'm doing the research for those shows, I run across more than I can use. One of the items I ran across this time is about the greatest art detective working today. His name is Arthur Brand. He's Dutch. He lives in Amsterdam. He's said to have recovered hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stolen art. He's tracked down work from Dali and Picasso and Van Gogh. He's been hired by museums to negotiate with warlords for the return of stolen work. He recovered a $70 million painting that had been stolen from the yacht of a Saudi billionaire.
Wow.
Yeah, more than 2 decades after its theft. He's a private citizen.
Huh.
Yeah. He's not directly associated with any law enforcement agency. It's not even his day job.
What?
Yeah. He's got a company, but their bread and butter is advising art collectors about forgeries.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a hobby. Like most detectives, his status as a citizen gives him some latitude. He said, I never break the law because I always work with the police, but I never give up informants because they will shoot you dead.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He's an open book. He tells criminals where he lives. He publishes his phone number. He says it builds trust.
Wow.
Yeah. I found out about him because I read an article about the return of a Van Gogh. It had been stolen from a museum in the Netherlands. A few weeks into the COVID crisis, a thief did a smash and grab. One night last year, Brand got a text. The text said, "Mr. Brand, do you have a duty of confidentiality?"
That's amazing.
Yeah. And he texted back and said, "I'm not a priest, but if I give my word, I keep it."
What a good line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a good line.
That led to a negotiation with a criminal who'd come in possession of a Van Gogh through some other illegal deal. So frequently, stolen art becomes something to barter in a drug or arms deal. I'll give you $5 million and this Van Gogh.
It always makes me so sad to think of the painting just passing through people's hands. Like, are you taking care of it? Is it okay?
Yeah, who only value it as an asset,
Yeah.
you know?
Yikes.
Yeah. The criminal wanted to return it to the museum because first, there was no reward for it and it was super hot and he couldn't move it.
Right.
And second, he had just a smidgen of goodwill. So a few days later, a guy shows up with a painting in a blue IKEA bag, drops it off at Brand's apartment, and disappears. Brand opens the bag. It's the missing Van Gogh, valued at over $5 million. Brand credits a lot of his success to his contacts. He got his start by studying with a famous art smuggler.
He must know really interesting people.
That's, I think, part of the draw. He worked with the smuggler for 6 years, and he met people from Scotland Yard and FBI, con men, forgers, thieves, this whole interesting small cast of people who are involved with high-end stolen art. He doesn't do it for the money. So after recovering some World War II artifacts, a reporter asked him about it. Brand said, "Who do I send my invoice to? Angela Merkel?" He likes the thrill and the fame, and he likes having the stories. He said, "Nobody pays you, but at the end, you can write books about it, which are translated into 7 or 8 languages." He has written a couple. One of them is available in English. It's about Brand recovering one of Adolf Hitler's favorite statues. It's called Hitler's Horses, The Incredible True Story of the Detective Who Infiltrated the Nazi Underworld.
Wow.
Yeah. If you're curious, the reviews for the book are solid. Writers have said that it reads like a thriller with a good dose of history and humor. It's Hitler's Horses by Arthur Brand, the world's greatest art detective.
Visit strongsenseofplace.com/library for more on the books we talked about today, including The Great Detective, Arthur Brand.
Thanks for joining us in the Library of Lost Time. Remember to visit your local library and your independent bookstore to lose some time yourself.
Stay curious. We'll talk to you soon.
I'm Amy Nicholson, the film critic for the LA Times.
And I'm Paul Scheer, an actor, writer, and director. You might know me from The League, Veep, or my non-eligible for Academy Award role in Twisters.
We love movies, and we come at them from different perspectives.
Yeah, like Amy thinks that, Joe Pesci was miscast in Goodfellas, and I don't.
He's too old. Let's not forget that Paul thinks that Dune 2 is overrated.
It is.
Anyway, despite this, we come together to host Unspooled, a podcast where we talk about good movies, critical hits,
fan favorites, must-sees, and in case you missed them.
We're talking Parasite to Home Alone.
From Grease to The Dark Knight.
We've done deep dives on popcorn flicks. We've talked about why Independence Day deserves a second look.
And we've talked about horror movies, some that you've never even heard of, like Ganja and Hess.
So if you love movies like we do, come along on our cinematic adventure.
Listen to Unspooled wherever you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to hit the follow button.